Our mentality post 9/11. That's how the state has operated for the past 10 years, and that's how it will be going forward. Whatever any community needs, we will be there. Now, I understand the fear. Well, if I lend you my ventilator, what happens when I need the ventilator? That was FDR in the garden hose, right? First of all, smart is you don't want your house to burn down, don't let the neighbor's house burn down. When the fire hits the neighbor's house, it's in your self-interest to put out the fire in the neighbor's house. Not only is it the right community, moral, ethical thing, it's the smart, practical thing. Why did Oregon send us 140 ventilators? Because they're very nice people. Yes, Governor Brown is a great leader. Why else? Because they see the fire spreading. And they say, better we put out the fire before it gets to us. If I'm sitting in upstate New York right now and I see that fire coming up, I say, let's go put that fire out before it gets to us. But even if the fire gets to you, every hose in the state that can be sent to you because they don't need it will be sent to you. And all we're asking is for ventilators that you aren't using now and you don't foresee using in the foreseeable future. Right? I say to you, John, do you have any ventilators that you're not using and you don't think you're going to need in the foreseeable future? Yes, I do. I have 10. Okay, let me borrow 2. The 20% is what gets you to the 500 ventilators. So, go ahead.
Just listening to President Cuomo talking about the situation in New York State. Governor Cuomo has been casually and calmly addressing the crowd, assuaging people's fears, using competent visual aids, describing the way that the virus could spread around the United States and the ways in which we could work together as a team to fight it. As Governor Cuomo said, if you don't need 10 ventilators, maybe I can borrow 2. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. We're just getting started today. We started a little early. Cuomo was really going there with the sharing. Hopefully we'll get clips of that. Maybe we can play that tomorrow. Here it is, your Bukowski poem to start off your Sunday. Not as optimistic, perhaps, as Cuomo. The crunch. Too much. Too little. Too fat. Too thin. Or nobody. Laughter or tears. Haters. Lovers. Strangers with faces like the backs of thumbtacks. Armies running through streets of blood, waving wine bottles, bayoneting and fucking virgins. Or an old guy in a cheap room with a photograph of Mem Monroe. There is a loneliness in this world so great that you can see it now in the slow movement of the hands of a clock. People so tired, mutilated, either by love or no love. People are just not good to each other one-on-one. The rich are not good to the rich. The poor are not good to the poor. We are afraid. Our educational system tells us that we can all be big-ass winners. It hasn't told us about the gutters, or the suicides, or the terror of one person aching in one place, alone, untouched, unspoken to, watering a plant. People are not good to each other. People are not good to each other. People are not good to each other. I suppose they never will be. I don't ask them to be. But sometimes I think about it. The beads will swing, the clouds will cloud, and the killer will behead the child, like taking a bite out of an ice cream cone. Too much. Too little. Too fat. Too thin. Or nobody. More haters than lovers. People are not good to each other. Perhaps if they were, our deaths would not be so sad. Meanwhile, I look at young girls, stems, flowers of chance. There must be a way. Surely, there must be a way we have not yet thought of. Who put this brain inside of me? It cries. It demands. It says that there is a chance. It will not say no. A horse with green-blue eyes. What you see is what you see. Madhouses are rarely on display. That we still walk about and scratch ourselves and light cigarettes is more the miracle than bathing beauties, than roses and the moth. To sit in a small room and drink a can of beer and roll a cigarette while listening to Brahms on a small red radio is to have come back from a dozen wars, alive, listening to the sound of the refrigerator as bathing beauties rot and the oranges and apples roll away. One more. Keeps flipping to this page, so we have no choice. The book has chosen. One more poem. 103 degrees. She cut my toenails the night before, and in the morning she said, I think I'll just lay here all day, which meant she wasn't going to work. She was at my apartment, which meant another day and another night. She was a good person, but she had just told me that she wanted to have a child, wanted marriage, and it was 103 degrees outside. When I thought of another child and another marriage, I really began to feel bad. I had resigned myself to dying alone in a small room. Now she was trying to reshape my master plan. Besides, she always slammed my car door too loud and ate with her head too close to the table. This day we had gone to the post office, a department store, and then to a sandwich place for lunch. I already felt married. Driving back in, I almost ran into a Cadillac. Let's get drunk, I said. No, she answered. It's too early. And then she slammed the car door. It was still 103 degrees. When I opened my mail, I found my auto insurance company wanted $76 more. Suddenly, she ran into the room and screamed, Look, I'm turning red, all blotchy. What'll I do? Take a bath, I told her. I dialed the insurance company long distance and demanded to know why. She began screaming and moaning from the bathtub, and I couldn't hear, and I just said, Just a minute, please. I covered the phone and screamed at her in the bathtub. Look, I'm on long distance. Hold it down, for Christ's sake. The insurance people still maintained that I owed them $76 and would send me a letter explaining why. I hung up and stretched out on the bed. I was already married. I felt married. She came out of the bathroom and said, Can I stretch out beside you? And I said, okay. In 10 minutes, her color was normal. It was because she had taken a niacin tablet. She remembered that it happened every time. We stretched out there sweating. Nerves. Nobody has the soul to overcome nerves. But I couldn't tell her that. She wanted her baby. What the fuck? So there you go. A little Charles Bukowski to get you started. This is from Love is a Dog from Hell. More poems by Charles Bukowski. Thanks so much to everyone for joining us in the chat. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. Rocking my Bitcoin halving hat. Still not quite used to these snapback hats. I don't know. People say they like them. It's the modern thing. And I've got my amazing Ugly Old Goat Bitcoin Cruise shirt on here. Shout out to Ugly and anyone else who went on the cruise with us down to Ensenada and Mexico. This is our big book of the day. I can barely hold it. I need to do some calisthenics and some weightlifting. This is called Stanley Kubrick's Archives. As you can see, it's thick, and that doesn't even really quite describe the weight. We've got Book Cam hopefully ready to go. This book is too heavy to hold, so we're going to be displaying it to you later. But of course, we've got the news and everything else that's going on today for you, Sunday morning, The Thomas Hunt Show. Today is Sunday, April 5th, 2020. My name is Thomas Hunt, and this is The Thomas Hunt Show. The price of Bitcoin is down. Zero is hard to read in the corner. The price of Bitcoin is up 0.64%, but that's almost the same as down, with a last of 6,797, a high of 7,014, and a low of 6,735. That's $1 for 14,712 Satoshis. See how easy it is when it's right there on the chart? It looks like we seem to be going in the middle here, so it's neither summertime nor wintertime on the Bitcoinal chart.
Bitcoin is very volatile, so...
Bitcoin is very volatile. It's, what's
Bitcoin
the guy from Silicon Valley?
Volatile, so...
Guilfoyle. He has that beeping that's going on. Anyway, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is closed because it's Sunday and they're lazy. The Dow Jones Industrial Average on Friday closed down 1.69% with a last of 21,052, below a previous close of 21,413. Checking out coronavirus cases worldwide, previously around 1.155 million, 61,000 deaths. Quick refresh. 1,236,842 infected worldwide with the coronavirus. 67,253 dead. Stay the fuck home. Staying home is not fun. You're probably going a little crazy right now, but by staying home, you're not spreading the virus, which is the best thing we can do right now. You all saw that graph with all the little dots. When the dots stay home, the virus can't spread. So let's not spread that virus. Wear a mask. If you have to go outside, wear a mask. The Center for Disease Control now recommends that all Americans wear cloth or improvised masks. That's right. Cloth or improvised masks. If you go outside, wear a fucking mask. Like these guys fighting the 1918 pandemic. Look at the police officers, all wearing masks. Amazing. Like this video. Thanks so much for joining us. Please give us a like and a share so that more people will see this video. If it's your first time here, please subscribe down below and hit the bell for notifications. We do the show every day around 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but look, we're on early today. How'd you find out? Must have been a notification. Or maybe Twitter. Coronavirus cases in the United States. Previously around 291,000 infected, 7,800 dead. Quick refresh. 321,615 infected in the United States. 9,132 dead. Fear the apocalypse? Come hang out on Sunday for Prepper Palooza live stream on the Tatiana Show on Facebook. Check it out. Mad Bitcoins will be there 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which I'm told is 3 hours ahead of West Coast time, making it around 11 a.m. West Coast time. So let's check it out. The Tatiana Show, Prepper Palooza. Shout out to Red Canoe in the chat who says, "How do you fuck your home?" And we're checking out Twitter. Gonna go see yesterday's news. Hopefully there's not too much. Mad Bitcoins and Crypto Raptor claim Stonehenge for Bitcoin. Let's check that out. We've always got a couple minutes to claim Stonehenge. It is a Sunday, right? This is about a year ago, April 15th, 2019. magnificent. Every time. I mean, we totally lost our ad rights there, so it's over for this video. So if you want to super chat or donate Bitcoin, that's the only funds we'll get for this. But who cares? Worth it. What a video. What a backdrop. Stonehenge. Spared no expense to bring you that video. But that was our distraction. Now we have to go back to the news. The United States was beset by denial and dysfunction as the coronavirus raged. Oh, we know that, but let's just keep moving. Bad news, Charlie Strauss will not be able to write his article or his novel, which was going to be about a virus and a pandemic. What a bummer for Charlie. He had all the notes. It was going to be part of a trilogy with Halting State and Rule 34. And it's blown now, as he says. And then COVID-19 came along and basically rendered the whole thing unnecessary because we're getting a real-life crash course in how people with suffering from a viral pandemic, and we do not generally kill them using shotguns and baseball bats, even if they're so contagious that contact might kill us. Because fuck my life. Writing plausible, near-future science fiction in the 21st century wasn't hard enough already. So, bad news for Charlie Strauss. He can't write his novel anymore because this damn virus is too similar. Peter Todd taking a victory lap. 3 weeks ago, pre-quarantine, I had doctors ranting that I was sexist, mansplaining, tech dude for posting evidence that masks work, and politely asking them to support their evidenceless claims that masks spread infection. Now the CDC recommends everyone wear masks. Way to go, Peter. Craig Spencer, MD, writes, just getting home from the ER. It was brutal. Something you never want to see or experience, I promise. The virus cannot infect you if the virus cannot find you. So please stay home and stay safe. It's still our only hope. Bill Gates is setting up factories to manufacture the 7 leading vaccine candidates before we know which one is best and safest. We can test the vaccines in parallel and then throw away the factory for the best vaccine. But for the best vaccine. May save many months. Just extraordinary. Bill Gates really out ahead of this, warned us about pandemics, and now taking action to stop them. Shout out to Philippe, who says, hey, wear a mask. Masks for all. And he's got a collection of figures here. Jesus Christ, William Shakespeare, the Mona Lisa, girl with a pearl earring, Van Gogh, American Gothic. Oh, that guy from all the memes. Benny Franklin. And I don't know this girl in the corner. I guess Italian, Rossellini, something like that. I'm going to guess Italian. Tell me in the chat, do you know who this artist is on the far right here? From Philippe. Follow Philippe at PHNEEP. We clicked on an image, so Twitter threw us out of line. We got to slide back to the future. We got to get back. Okay, now we're too far back. Okay. All right, let's get started. Here we go with the clips. We already lost our ad rights. We can go ahead and play these fair use clips of news and commentary and information about your world.
But a lot less, a lot of death, unfortunately. But a lot,
Sorry, what was
lot
that?
of death, a lot of death, a lot of death, a lot of death, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But a lot less death than if
Less
this wasn't
depth.
done. But there will be death.
There will be death. Inspiring. Beautiful. Twitter video. Anyway, let's just keep moving. Trump says that people are cheating in voter ID, as Aaron Rupar says. Admits a deadly pandemic. Trump makes case against the model of voting that keeps most people safe from contagion. President Trump just said from the White House this will probably be the toughest week between this week and next week. and there will be a lot of death, unfortunately. Ask the question, why not a 50-state lockdown when all scientists and doctors seem to agree that staying home is the only thing that can kill the virus, not allowing it to spread from human to human? Trump says we have a thing called the Constitution. Not sure what that means, but great answer. Trump says maybe Schiff was the informer. He was informing to himself. It's like Scanner Darkly. How can I know if the scanner sees me lightly or darkly? Great movie and book, Philip K. Dick, rotoscoping animation, all about a drug informant agent who's informing on himself. So is he the informant or is he the drug agent? Here's what he says about the
We
Constitution.
want to see as few lives lost as possible in this pandemic.
So if you
But
wanted
there
few
are
lives,
still
you'd close
8
the
governors,
states, right?
All Republicans who have refused to issue these statewide stay-at-home orders. Your own experts, including Dr. Fauci, have said stay-at-home orders are the most effective way to stop the spread of this virus. So why not do everything possible
Well,
and urge
Tennessee
those
just
governors
did it.
right
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
to do that?
We have a thing called the Constitution, which I cherish, number one. Number two, those governors, I know every one of them, they're doing a great job. They're being very, very successful in what they're doing. And as you know, I want the governors to be running things. Now, in some cases, we'll supersede. But in this case, it's not.
Do you think they should? I'm not asking if you
I think it
order them to,
depends.
but-
It depends on the individual state that you're talking about. But they're doing very well, and they're doing a magnificent job in running their
Well,
states.
South Carolina has 1,700 cases right now of coronavirus. Utah has 1,255. I mean, are these not states that you think should have
No,
those
I think they're
stay-at-home
doing a
orders in
great
place?
job. Well, that's a very small number relative to population.
It's larger than some states that do have stay-at-home orders
Okay,
already in place.
it's up to the. If I saw something wrong, if I saw a massive breakout, of which that's not, I would come down very hard. But
Isn't the key in this pandemic getting ahead of those numbers, though?
no, not in that case. But in the case, I know the states you're talking about.
Not in that
By the way, I
case.
think you're up to 92% is covered. 92% of the country is covered. And from a constitutional standpoint, they made the difference. They called the shots. Yes, Jeff, go ahead.
Just a question about messaging.
All right, so that was just, again, we're part of a bizarre experiment in federalism. I know you guys have been hanging on since the Articles of Confederation, the government that was too weak to fight the British, the government that couldn't control its own coinage, the government that allowed states to publish individual coins and individual notes. They had that script as worthless as a continental, the continental dollar. So yeah, we're going to try it again. We're going to let each state respond individually to the crisis. Meanwhile, as we played in the intro to the show, Governor Cuomo, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves and just call him President Cuomo, because clearly President Cuomo was talking about how he, unlike this guy, has a plan to distribute the ventilators from state to state. After New York is done with the ventilators, he's going to start moving them to the next area that needs them. And so on. And so on. It's what you do if you actually want to win this thing. You want to beat the virus. During the conference, Trump said, 2 friends of mine brought him the whistleblowers, ventilators. That was kind of funny. Said the wrong word. But yes, social distancing. This is a classic. So, as Aaron Rubar says in the summary, Trump on Americans who are currently social distancing at home. They want to go to work, by the way. They don't want money. This country is great. So I don't know about you guys. I mean, at like a grander metaphysical level, sure, I don't want money. But I got rent to pay. I got credit cards to pay. I got bills to pay. I got food to buy. Even at this very subsistence level, which I haven't been shopping, you haven't been shopping, hopefully. We're doing a good job not shopping, surprisingly un-American. But let's find
We're
out
also saying
why we don't
again,
need money.
The cure must not be worse than the problem. Which is it?
I like money.
No, I'm just saying we have to get this country open, Jeff. It has to get open. This country was not designed to be closed.
Not designed.
So we have the greatest we've ever had, and then we're paying people to stay home? Think of it. We're paying people not to go to work. How about that? How does that play? And they want to go to work, by the way. They don't want money. This
They don't want
country is
money. They
great.
just want to work.
But we're paying people. We have to get back to work. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead, please.
They don't want money. They just want to work. I'm sure you libertarians in the chat, you just want to work. You must imagine Sisyphus happy. All the people who are working at convenience stores and restaurants and flipping burgers, they don't want money. They just want to work. Cuomo isn't gracious enough. That's why New York isn't getting their supplies and Florida has 3 times the amount of supplies you need. It's very dangerous in a pandemic to look like you're playing favorites with certain states for political reasons or personal reasons. It's just a bad look. It's not something you'd want, but let's see what he said.
We have given the governor of New York more than anybody has ever been given in a long time. I'll just say, I was going to say in history, but in a long time. And I think he's happy. But I think that, because I watched what he said today, and it was fine. I wouldn't say gracious. It wasn't gracious. It was okay. I must tell you, Gavin Newsom has been gracious. Los Angeles, California, the job we've done, and all of California.
Why does that matter if they're gracious or not gracious?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I think when we've given as much as we've given to New York, somebody should say nice. I'll tell you who's been very nice. Mayor de Blasio has been very nice. He understands what we've given him. We brought him some more ventilators, too, yesterday. But nobody has been given like New York. And I think, I know he appreciates it.
I think
he just can't quite get the words out, but that's okay.
So when he says, but when he
Godfather,
says that he needs 40,000
Godfather,
Please, go ahead.
may your first child be a masculine child. Godfather, thank you for having me to your family on the day of your daughter's wedding. I'm very honored to be in your family by the day of your daughter's wedding. Godfather, thank you for the ventilator. Thank you for the masks. For the people in New York, you're amazing. You're an amazing person. Godfather. So this was a pretty funny moment at the old press conference here. Joe Biden, and okay, so we got to go kind of both ways on this. President's kind of right. Joe Biden's staff right before the press conference, they had some nice timing, right? They did good timing, and they put a strong tweet out. They said, Donald Trump is not responsible for the coronavirus, but he is responsible for failing to prepare our nation to respond to it. Strong tweet, right? Joe Biden. As I said, Trump can't answer the question. He's not going to go at this responsibility or the time that he took. Here's a guy with a branded face mask. Apparently, it's a U.S. dollars in the Federal Reserve branded face mask. So I don't get it. I guess they're not fans of inflation. They're anti-inflation. Okay, I get that. Balaji, the full face mask. President took 6 weeks off. Oh, where's the rest of my clip? Well, I don't know. But eventually we're going to play it. It was great. Trump freaked out during the press conference, repeating over and over, Joe Biden did not write that tweet. Joe Biden did not write that. He never answered the question. He just repeated over and over again, Joe Biden did not write that tweet. So I guess if the Biden camp really wanted to drive Trump crazy, they just let him go on Twitter. Let Biden say whatever kind of crazy thing comes up into Biden's mind. Put him live on Twitter and Trump will fall apart. It was pretty impressive to see the reporter asking the question, Joe Biden's just tweeted about you, when so many times we've been watching the online or the press, or even during the congressional hearings, the impeachment hearings, when they had to inform the woman, they're like, the president's tweeting negative things about you right now, real time live, while you're under oath. That was a classic moment. So branded face masks are here. Balaji says he thought about putting the Bitcoin logo on his. I almost put it on mine too, but he thought it was a little crass. I agree. I just wanted to draw attention to the face mask. But this is face mask becoming a fashion item already. So this is only the beginning. Gucci branded face masks, other things like that coming soon. The missing 6 weeks. We're going to be talking about this for a long time. There's going to be a lot of books written about this. Headline there on the Washington Post today, 70 days, that it's 70 days that are missing. We just can't find those days. Nobody showed up to work on those days. Whoopsie doodle. So maybe next time, but not this time. Open Broadcaster running slowly. Makes every time you use it all the more dramatic. There it is. That's what we want. Trump just encouraged millions of gullible Americans to get on preemptive malaria and lupus drug treatment, saying, I might take it. I'm going to ask my doctor. And it was a very bad look. It was just generally irresponsible. You just don't want to say, come take this drug randomly when you're the president. It's just not responsible. You just don't want to do it. It's like yelling fire in a crowded theater. He yelled, take these drugs in a crowded room of American idiots. Trump doesn't seem to know how the virus is transmitted from person to person and doesn't get why packed churches amidst a pandemic might be a bad idea. He was talking about Easter. He said maybe we could have services outside and the people could stand, 6 feet apart. And again, it just seems like a horrible idea, sadly, to get religious people killed. I just don't know why they would do that. Obviously, they're going to get there in the parking lot. They're going to walk shoulder to shoulder. It's just a terrible idea. It's just not something you want to do when we're not even peaking yet. Looking at the old chart here, thanks to John Byrne Murdoch at the FT analysis of European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. Also thanks to World Meters and FT Research. The latest information, Italy and Spain's daily death tolls are plateauing, but in the US and UK, every day brings more deaths than the last. So looking at this right here, we can see Italy gone over the peak, maybe on the way down. Spain and France seem to have gotten control of it as well, but the US and UK still straight up. Big mess. If all we need to do is stop the virus is stay home, why don't we have a 50-state lockdown? As Antonio French says, there's nothing reassuring about these Trump press conferences. It's like watching the pilot take a long swig from his flask and wiping his smiling mouth saying, a lot of y'all are going to die. States are stockpiling ventilators, but they should have stockpiled more. It's a dog-eat-dog world. We don't have a national government anymore.
An effort of some of these companies to ramp up production as fast as possible, it still won't be enough.
Well, New York wanted 40,000 ventilators. Okay, 40,000. Think of what 40,000 is. It's like cars. It's a big project. It's an expensive product. I mean, some of them are $50,000 a piece. I saw one the other day, $55,000. That was before they start playing the games with supply and demand. Okay, some are very, very. You call them luxury. Some are not. But frankly, these are very expensive products. These are very high-tech projects and products, and they take a period of time. We have thousands of them being built right now. Some will be ready. And we're going to have extra, and we'll keep them at hospitals. But a lot of hospitals, a lot of states had the chance of getting ventilators, and they turned those ventilators down so they could spend their money at something else. And in a way, I understand that, because who thinks a thing like this? It's not a knock. If I'm told, like perhaps New York, you can spend $1 billion on ventilators and get 16,000 or a massive number of ventilators that they've been offered over the years, or you can build a new bridge or road or something. I mean, I understand how that works. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying a lot of the states had chances of stockpiling a lot of ventilators. They didn't do it, and I think we're doing a very good job in helping them out. Please, Jeff. And it's a very fair question.
So no one's coming. No one's coming for the states. You're on your own. In the future, one has to question if this form of national government without responsibility will survive. Obviously, looking at this in the future, I think Nevada, California, other states like this are going to take preemptive action to have their own stockpiles of gloves and ventilators and other supplies. States that don't have the money to do this, states in the South that may be broke already, aren't going to have these stockpiles. So next time we might have the situation where the outbreak breaks out in the poorer states, but if you live in the richer states, you're fine. This is not the goal of having a national government. This is not why we got rid of the Articles of Confederation. This is not the reason for the Union. This is a reason to dissolve the Union. He says you should just take this random drug. What do you have to lose? I think they should take it. Try it if you like. Once again, we're getting irresponsible with our miracle cure. It's not even a preventative. He's talking about himself taking it. It's not a preventative. At best, it's a treatment for people who already have the virus. This is not good. Eventually, Trump taps out. He says, all right, I think we've had enough. We did it. We survived. We survived the Trump rally, I think. Maybe there'll be some more clips. We'll see. Cypherpunk is now in Switzerland. Projected images onto the Matterhorn every night to inspire solidarity amidst the pandemic. The projections are nearly 800 meters high and projected from 4 kilometers or 2.48 miles away. Check it out. It says hashtag stay home. You can see it on the Matterhorn above the Swiss town. Check that out. There's a close-up. Really impressive projection and a nice positive message. Stay home. Stephen Pauly writes, the United States is slowly awakening to the realization that universal health care is a national security issue. That's right. If we had health care, people would be covered. We'd have a better chance of fighting the virus. Also, with this unemployment insurance nightmare, at least we wouldn't be dealing with the twin nightmares of health insurance nightmare and unemployment insurance nightmare. Massachusetts announces community tracing collaborative with PIH, Mass DPH, and Health Connector. PIH will hire, train, virtually deploy, and coordinate a group of community tracing and support personnel in Massachusetts. This is what we've seen work in other countries like South Korea, where they tracked and traced the virus. They were talking about this on the news just the other day, how in Iceland they actually have police detectives working on cases with the virus. When they find out someone has the virus, they ask them who they had contact with. They go to those people and try to stop them before they have contact with other people. This is how you fight and defeat the virus, but only in Massachusetts. So we're only going to be trying these things in individual states. So it's never going to work because the virus is just going to leak back in. We need to kill the virus everywhere. We need to work towards killing the virus as a team. And we also need to work as a team towards pushing the thumbs up button. Thanks to all the new viewers. Thanks for stopping by. We have 44 watching now, and only 16 have hit the like button. It's free. It's fun. Like this video and other videos on YouTube. That's how YouTube recommends videos to others. The more likes you get, the higher up in the search order you go. So that'd be good. There'd be more people in the chat for you to argue with. Richard Painter writes, this is a ripoff. Banks participating in the new federal emergency programs are refusing businesses, even existing customers, access to the loans unless they are already borrowing money. That's right. The banks don't want to give you your loan that allegedly becomes a grant if you are not already a customer and already in debt. The bottom line is, unless your business is already borrowing money from the bank, you can't get access to these emergency loans, even though Congress imposed no such condition. Ridiculous. Check out the Lightning Hack Day. It's day 2. We've got Fulmo Lightning, Josh Gagala, and more in the live stream right here on the World Crypto Network at the same time. I think it's still going. We could check in. Very cool. Bill Gates is doing laudable work fighting COVID. But every act of billionaire philanthropy is an indictment of our government, which has far more capital than even the world's richest, but has evacuated its role as guardian of the collective well-being, says David Wallace Wells, author of the book, The Uninhabitable Earth. Kurt Cobain, sad farewell 26 years ago today. They laughed at me for being different. I laughed at them because they were all the same. At least 8 strains of the coronavirus have been identified. It's not that bad, though. They're pretty similar. It's not mutating that much. They think the vaccine might be able to take out all 8 strains, but there are 8 different versions now. So, it's like foil metal covers. You got to collect them all. Lightning Hack Day live right now on the World Crypto Network. Looks like a bunch of people just went to check it out. Oh boy, here we go. Missouri is one of those states that exempted church services from its stay-at-home order. This is a mistake and very unfortunate for the church-going people. Let's check out this interview on CNN.
Driving out of this Ohio parking lot is a woman who just attended a church service with dozens of other people, including children.
Can I ask you about your decision to go to church, to be inside that building?
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Aren't you concerned you could infect other people if you get sick inside?
No.
People who don't go to this
No.
church.
I'm covered in Jesus' blood. I'm covered in Jesus'
But what
blood.
about other people who don't go to this church who you might encounter?
All of these people go to this church.
No, but you're going to be in places where other people
I go to the grocery store every day. I'm in Walmart,
What?
Home Depot, all of those
But you
people.
could get them sick from what happens in
They
the
could
church.
get me sick, but they're not because I'm covered in his blood. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. All right, I guess. Okay. So, she's covered in his blood. So you can't fight that. Meanwhile, they don't want anyone to feel there's an apocalyptic threat to the end of humanity. If you ever happen to visit the Avengers campus at Disneyland, they're not going to be having the snap from the movie. So any character that was destroyed in the snap will be there at Disneyland. So it's pretty nice, but it's also pretty strange they're making a non-canon theme park. But what can you do? Trump destroys America. Act 1. I alone can fix it. Act 2. I take no responsibility. Act 3. There will be death. Ouch. And checking out the Trump golf corona timeline. January 3rd, he's told of the virus. 4th and 5th, golfing. January 18th, cabinet member advises Trump the virus is serious. Same day, golfing. January 19th, first U.S. case of COVID-19, also golfing. January 27th, Chief of Staff Mulvaney holds an intervention to get Trump to pay more attention to the virus. He's fired a month later. February 1st, golfing. 2nd, golfing. 15, golfing. 19, I think this is going to work out fine. 28th, this is their new hoax. 29th, first U.S. death. 3rd, March 7th, Democrats work the weekend to craft the relief bill. On the 7th, no, I'm not concerned at all. We've done a great job. And on the 7th, he went golfing. On the 8th, he went golfing. And on the 10th, he said, it'll go away. Just stay calm. It will go away. And on the 13th, he declared a national emergency and also said that he doesn't take responsibility at all. That seems apparent. Trump's coronavirus response. That seems about right. I think his hands are clean. That's the funny thing is that, there are 3 lights. There are 3 lights. The New Deal of the 21st century. These aren't radical lefty ideas. This is the Financial Times. The Financial Times just today says, policies until recently considered eccentric, such as basic income and wealth taxes, will have to be in the mix. Radical change from the conservative Financial Times, just showing you again, like we've been talking about here, trying to make sure you understand and that you're ready for the future, is that the Overton window has moved, right? The range of policies acceptable to mainstream population has moved. What was previously unacceptable, staying home for months and months and months, is now acceptable to defeat the virus. This also means that basic income and wealth taxes, policies that the Financial Times declares until recently considered eccentric, will have to be in the mix. It says radical reforms, reversing the prevailing policy direction of the last 4 decades, will need to be put on the table. Governments will have to accept a more active role in the economy. They must see public services as investments rather than liabilities and look for ways to make labor markets less insecure. Redistribution will again be on the agenda. The privileges of the elderly and wealthy are in question. Politics until recently considered eccentric, such as basic income and wealth taxes, will have to be in the mix. There you go. The window has moved. Another sign of the window moving. Bud Light is advertising for random takeout restaurants. They're desperate to get you to drink more beer. Obviously, you haven't been going out to bars and restaurants. You haven't been drinking enough beer. They are now advertising randomly. Desperate. I don't know who needs to hear this, says Mike Jason at Mike Jason 73. But at least 2 million military personnel, diplomats, expats, and their families vote by mail each year. It's fine. It works. We can do this for everyone. Shout out to the McLaughlin Group. It's a great classic show. Rest in peace, John McLaughlin. They're doing a new episode today. Looks like it might even be live, but they're doing it from their homes. They've all got video chat. We were wondering if the old folks of the McLaughlin Group could get it set up, but they must have had their cousin or their nephew come over, and they're ready to go. So we're going to check that out later. Never was much of a fan of this guy, but check out George W. Bush in 2005. If we wait for a pandemic to appear, it will be too late. In the summer of 2005, President W. Bush was on vacation when he began flipping through an advanced copy of the new book about the 1918 flu pandemic. Unbelievable. A president reading a book, a president understanding the book, a president learning from a book and applying it to their own real life. I never thought I would say so many nice things about George W. Bush. Hey, check it out. We made it to the top. Lightning Network Hack Day. Very cool. And this was pretty funny. This is an art guy, Jerry Saltz. He says, "Of course art will go on. That goes without saying, since art is much bigger and deeper than the business that supports it." I'm not sure what business that is. "Art will only vanish when all the problems it was invented to explore have been explored." Of course, Jerry Saltz is also in the news because of this epic and amazing tweet. Commencing day 16 of sheltering in place. Coffee run to gas station complete. 18 large to go. Put in car, drive them home, deloused, decontaminated, showered, and placed in fridge for use. Stay safe out there, outlaws and creative gypsies. And as you can see, the entire internet pretty much went nuts over this tweet. He's implying that he's going to be drinking 16-day-old coffee. He's going to be using these coffees. He's also kind of admitting that perhaps he doesn't know how to make his own coffee or doesn't have the material at home or the interest. But it's a classic tweet. Everyone giving him a hard time pretty much. The royal family announces on Sunday, the 5th of April at 8 p.m. BST. I wonder if that's now. Her Majesty the Queen will address the UK and the Commonwealth in a televised broadcast. It's a broad and she's cast. As well as on television and radio. The Queen's address will be shown on the royal family's social media channels. So the Queen's expected to say that Britain did a great job and that the virus is going well. So shout out, preview to the Queen. Good old Cory Doctorow has a tweet here from the 1950s. This is USSR propaganda or advertising, whatever. Mayonnaise makes everyone equal. And it's a pig and a fish, and they're both friends with mayonnaise. So there you go. That's a little palate cleanser. I know it's been hard. We went right into the news. It was rough. And then if the news wasn't enough, in Sweden, they're adding chips to their hands. And of course, my friend in Amsterdam already has this. This is all old school, but there it is. He can open up the fridge with his hand. He can impress this news girl. She even wants to touch it. That's okay. You can touch it. Oh, she touched it. She's touching it. It's the size of a grain of rice. My friend had one inserted. It's a veterinarian type chip. I think he had the vet do it. He can open doors. He can open the magic fridge and it can charge him later for the drinks he drinks. And he can even store money on there. And they don't necessarily say Bitcoin, but you could store all kinds of other things. Of course, this could be a horrible dystopia where everyone is forced to add chips to their hands. So it's definitely happening. Keep an eye on that. 70 days of denial, delays, and dysfunction. Start thinking about the book titles now. I like 4 weeks wasted, 4 weeks lost, 70 days at sea, 70 days with the virus. And another palette cleanser. Here's the Tower of Babel, a fantastic modern art piece that I saw in 2018 in London at the Tate Modern. Check it out. It's made from different layers of radios. All the radios are turned on, tuned to different stations. Here's just a little bit of audio. Tower of Babel. Haunting, huh? Oh, play again. Twitter video. Still just so hard to use. So bizarre. No one ever tests this. I love that part at the end. It seems like you can almost hear it. It's like, no. If we had a universal healthcare system, all those newly unemployed people would also not be newly uninsured people. Of all the first world nations, only in America does losing your job mean losing your healthcare. Balaji's got another idea. I love it. What if Bill Gates was virus czar with plenary authority over budget and the ability to hire and fire? We'd get metrics, a national dashboard tracking progress on drugs, vaccines, PPE, cases, deaths, etc. Actions, a daily sync with all 50 governors' office giving brief written updates, and more. Bill Gates should be in charge. Coronavirus on Rikers Island, the prison in New York, now has the highest density of COVID-19 infections in the entire world, an infection rate of more than 5.41%. We made it to the top. We made it. I can't believe it. There's not that much news. It was a Sunday. We survived. All right, let's see what we've got on Bookcam. Bookcam's not quite right. You can see my incredible power strip that I got. Hasn't been deployed yet. Okay, Bookcam's still not quite right. Oh, we found the book. Okay, we found the microphone too. All right, this is Big Book Sunday. This book is so big it takes up the entire desk. We're gonna need an even bigger desk. Also, shout out, I got a new Funko Pop. This is Stephen King. Stephen King the Funko. Isn't that creepy? Anyway, let's get into Stanley Kubrick Archives. You guys are just dying to see the inside of this book. You can't judge a book by its cover. But with this, you can obviously tell this is the greatest book about Stanley Kubrick ever made. Knocking stuff off the desk. This book is so big. It's not even really all in the shot. Knocking stuff over, priceless chess pieces, whatever. You just want to see more of the book. You're like, look at those film reels. My God. Okay, so starting off here, we have a film clip from Stanley Kubrick's very own copy of 2001: A Space Odyssey. This is what he would watch in his house. This was his final copy. This is like success for completing the film, and they gave us all a piece of it. Looks like one of the early scenes with the moon. So there you go. Stanley Kubrick, something he owned. As you can see, the Stanley Kubrick Archives features incredibly large-scale pictures from all of Stanley Kubrick's films, organized by useful tabs here on the side. This is Kiss Me, Kill Me, an early black and white, hard to find Stanley Kubrick film. Although, you know, internet, you could probably get it. Again, tons of black and white scenes of the films. Remember, in the old days, you couldn't just get every movie that you wanted, so you had to study films this way. You had to, like, here's The Killing right here. You had to look at these shots and say, wow, I wonder how they lit that. I mean, did they use that lamp? Did they have other lights? That lamp behind them? Where did they put the camera? What were the angles, right? And remember that Kubrick was also a still photographer in addition to before he was a filmmaker. So a lot of these have a still photographer's framing to them. And you can tell that they work well even outside of the film. Here's a little bit from his World War I epic with Kirk Douglas, Paths of Glory. We're going to keep moving through this. Give us a thumbs up and a share if you like this. I can never tell. Let me know in the chat. I'll look at it later. If you guys really hate big books or if you like them. And, you know, we're trying to present this as best as possible. This is not the best book cam in the world. I see some glare. But here's a little Spartacus. Kubrick's moving into color films. He took this movie over halfway. It wasn't really a Kubrick film. But in the end, there are a lot of hallmarks of Kubrick and competent directing in Spartacus. So, only seen it once, I think. Lolita, another great one. Come on, book cam. Focus. It's being extra finicky today, book cam. Not impressed with you. How could they make a film about Lolita? It's so dramatic that it made the book cam not work. So back to black and white, a film about Lolita, the young woman who seduces older men. Or maybe it's not her fault. Who knows? Don't want to cast aspersions. Haven't read the Nabokov myself, but have a nice annotated copy waiting for me on the shelf. Oh, who could skip Dr. Strangelove? What a great film. What memories. Fluoride. How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. So it's not just all pictures, although I'm trying to give you guys a good taste of the picture section and just what a treasure, what a book like this would be like if you didn't have access to the films instantly on torrents or Netflix or whatever you've got access to these days. We're trying to move the book cam a little bit, if that would help. Not so sure. And again, the book cam is so wide, but the book is even wider. So more awesome shots of 2001. Flipping through here. And it goes all the way to the future, so that means, well, even more 2001. Lots of the scene where he goes through with the monolith, the future, kind of merging with the monolith, whatever you want to say. Big scenes, exciting film. Good stuff. Obviously, spoilers in here, I suppose, if you haven't seen these movies, seeing stills from them. But you should have seen all the Kubrick movies by now. If you haven't, you've got a treat ahead of you. You've got some great times ahead. Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange, based on the novel. Quite a violent film. I suppose later you become desensitized to it. You've seen it so many times. And you can start to focus on the language and the society presented there. It's kind of a 1984 Orwellian-esque world where he is reprogrammed to take these violent tendencies out of him. Then he's put back into society, a society that then takes advantage of him because he cannot no longer use violence. He is no longer a violent man. So, interestingly, they left out the last chapter that was in the film. It's in the book. In the book, you find out that everyone is this way. Everyone in the society goes through a violent stage. And in the movie, they cut that out, and they kind of just showed him returning to violence. In the movie, in the book, he's not so much cured. It's that he's just like everyone else, which is actually even more haunting. So you can check out the 21st chapter in the book version of Clockwork Orange, which is a difficult read, similar to Train Spotting. Train Spotting written in Scottish accent, and Clockwork Orange written in its own language. But eventually it gets into your droopy gloopy, and you can understand what they're saying with all the cutty-wutty and the bloody-wutty and all that kind of stuff. It's based on Slavic. It's a mix of Russian languages and British slang. It was brand new language that Burgess created just for the book, Clockwork Orange. Cool stuff. Books written in other languages or other dialects. Here's Barry Lyndon. Beautiful film. Not a big fan. I just skipped most of it. Big thing about Barry Lyndon, Kubrick had a special camera that he borrowed from the studio. There's only like 6 of these cameras, and it's such a good camera that it can shoot scenes, maybe even like this scene, which looks like it was lit by the sunlight at the window, but it can shoot scenes by candlelight. Kubrick never returned this camera to the studio. They got it back after his death. But it was such a good camera, he couldn't see why he would return it to them. So here's The Shining, great film. You almost forget that Kubrick did it. It just kind of fits in there, blends in. But if you actually watch it, of course, a powerful work of horror. And interesting, especially in these days with the whole cabin fever thing, we're starting to get a lot of that. People are going nuts inside. Maybe a good time to revisit The Shining. Maybe a bad time, but maybe a good bad time. So funny, I think I definitely heard about The Shining on The Simpsons first. the Shining, don't say shining. Do you want to get sued? And they had Bart with this special power, and Homer was going to kill him. And so it was funny to later see it in a serious light, as the film, of course, takes it with Jack Nicholson. And just a fantastic film. Whoa, super gory today. Sorry. I hope I already said this film wasn't for kids, but YouTube's very serious about that these days. All work and no play make Jack a dull boy. But there we go. We're working our way through The Shining. And finally, Full Metal Jacket. This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for war. This is for fun. A fantastic movie, kind of split into 2 halves. The early half in the training camp and the second half in Vietnam. One of the few really rewatchable Vietnam movies, as opposed to, say, Platoon or Born on the 4th of July, which I've only seen once. Full Metal Jacket I've seen quite a few times. And like all Kubrick films, it just keeps getting better. MICKEY MOUSE. All for one, one for all, made for you and me. All right, so there's inappropriate images, not for children. Again, Eyes Wide Shut. A bit of an misunderstood, out of control movie, mainly a closet drama about jealousy between a married couple, but made so much bigger by Kubrick and the world in which he places his characters. Tom Cruise goes on a journey into the underground. The most important thing right here, you can see in the corner, the rainbow. He's in Wizard of Oz. He is Dorothy. And, he wants to see where the rainbow goes. He wants to go over the rainbow. So he does into a strange world of bizarro rich people orgies. He doesn't fit in at all. He's got a mask. They came in limos. He took a cab. Bad job fitting in. And then the big question is, how much does his wife know? Does she know everything? Did they kill that woman? All that kind of stuff. Eyes Wide Shut. Great film. maybe one of Tom Cruise's greatest. Several scenes in the film, Kubrick made them take like 80 different takes of the scene to drive the actors insane because he wanted insanity in the performance. Powerful stuff. The second half of the book is all articles and essays about each film. It's organized by film. So we have Killer's Kiss right here in the beginning. I'm going to go a little faster through this. We're going to head towards the end of the book here. I get the feeling a lot of people have tuned out, and that's okay. It's Big Book Sunday. We talked about the news. We talked about the coronavirus. Keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin. It's down 1.12%, a last of 6,797. So Dr. Strangelove, more essays, behind the scenes pictures. Here's Kubrick himself smoking in the set with George C. Scott and this lovely lady. Definitely a must for any Kubrick fan. The Stanley Kubrick Archives also comes in a smaller paperback version that you might see on sale at Barnes & Noble. This is, of course, the original printing with the Stanley Kubrick film strip and the hardcover. This was definitely one of the largest books I ever had. Here's some of Stanley Kubrick's Napoleon notes. I remember he did a file cabinet, many file cabinets full of notes. I have a whole separate book just about Stanley Kubrick's Napoleon. It's a great, great, fascinating film that was never made. But yep, definitely had this book in my archives for a while. Boom. Listen to that sound that it bangs closed. That's a weight. And there it is again, the Stanley Kubrick film strip. Very cool. Quite a neat thing to own a little piece of Kubrick history. And that, on your Big Book Sunday, is the Stanley Kubrick Archives. So thanks so much for watching this show. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share. If you're new here, please subscribe down below. Hit the bell for notifications. We'll be back again tomorrow with another episode of The Thomas Hunt Show. Until next time, bye-bye.